Hey, what's up guys, Cash Ketchum here, and I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I really wanted to get back into making videos again, and I figured, hey, now's as good as time as any, am I right? Now, as you can tell from the title of the video, today's video is going to be a what if style video, where what if Blackbeard didn't actually kill Thatch? And this scenario is pretty much going to be, instead of Thatch being the one to find the Yami Yami no Mi, Blackbeard actually ends up finding it himself. And as I was going through the list of plot points that were affected by this one event, it really turns out that this one single event greatly affects this current story as a whole. So like I said, we're going to start out with Blackbeard being the one to find the Yami Yami no Mi instead of Thatch. Now with Blackbeard being the one to find it, he now no longer has a reason to kill Thatch, because if you remember, Blackbeard didn't kill Thatch because he wanted to kill Thatch. He only did so because Thatch happened to be the one who found the Yami Yami no Mi fruit. However, Blackbeard does still leave the Whitebeard Pirates after he attains the Yami Yami no Mi fruit, because now he has finally attained the thing that he needed the most in order to enact his plan to become the Pirate King. So with Blackbeard now leaving the crew without killing Thatch, there's now no longer a reason for Ace to chase after Blackbeard. And Ace not chasing after Blackbeard pretty much means that every event that happened with Ace within the Alabasta arc do not happen now. There are really only two events that are altered by Ace not being in the Alabasta arc. It is when Smoker is chasing Luffy, and you know, we can just assume that Luffy will find another way to escape Smoker, no big deal. But the second one is the fact that Ace no longer gives Luffy his Vivre card. So now we can assume that the events of this current timeline pretty much coincide with the ones of the original timeline, and they don't really alter until we get to Enies Lobby. Now after the events of Enies Lobby, Blackbeard is reading a newspaper and he realizes that the Straw Hats aren't too far from him. And so he and his crew are on their way to go get the Straw Hats. Now the only reason why he never ended up getting to the Straw Hats is because Ace ended up stopping him. However, in this current timeline, Ace never had a reason to chase after Blackbeard, which means there is no one to stop Blackbeard from just going right to Water 7 to go capture Luffy. Now just to make things a little bit easier, we'll say that the Blackbeard Pirates arrive after Garp initially leaves before returning to come back to capture the Straw Hats. And so at this point, Blackbeard shows up, explains the reasons why he's here, and of course the citizens of Water 7 aren't having it because, you know, just like everyone else, they really like the Straw Hats. But of course the Blackbeard Pirates are just way too powerful, and they end up pretty much just taking them all out. Of course, this annoys all of the Straw Hat Pirates and Frankie, who, even though Frankie does end up joining the Straw Hats, he wasn't an official member just yet. But of course, if somebody's messing with the people of Water 7, Frankie's not going to be having that. Unfortunately, the Blackbeard Pirates are just way too powerful, and the Straw Hat Pirates get completely wiped out. They lose, and it's not even really close. So what now ends up happening is Blackbeard ends up bringing the entire Straw Hat crew over to Marineford, turns them all in, and they grant Blackbeard his warlord status. Now because the Straw Hats end up getting captured, this means that the events of Thriller Bark do not end up happening, which means Brook does not join the crew, no one gets their shadows back, Nami does not get Big Mom's Vivre card from Lola, and Gecko Moria gets to stay as a warlord. Now because the world government knows about Luffy's relations to Dragon, they're not just going to sit idly by and let him just die like a normal pirate or let him rot in jail. No, what they're going to do is hold a very public live execution of Luffy, sort of like what they did with Ace, except instead of to try to lure Whitebeard out, they're going to try to lure Dragon out in an attempt to wipe out the Revolutionary Army once and for all. Now we haven't really seen whether or not Dragon has a close connection to Luffy, but I feel that if the world government was going to kill his son, he wouldn't let the people that he hates the most in this world kill somebody that he helped bring into this world. So I feel he would do everything in his power to make sure that his son doesn't die by the world government's hands. And so in anticipation of Dragon and the entire Revolutionary Army showing up in order to save his son, the world government, I feel, would kind of take the same measures they did with Ace's public execution and gather the 7 warlords, get the Marines, get the admirals, vice admirals, everyone, just anyone who's anyone will be there in order to help make sure that this execution goes perfectly. Now with this change, I feel that when Ace realizes that Blackbeard is the one who captured Luffy and is now the reason why his little brother is about to be publicly executed, he can't stand for this, and he is now going to do whatever he can to go rescue Luffy, similar to what Luffy did to Ace. However, what we know about Whitebeard is that he considers his crew to be his family, and I don't think that Whitebeard would just allow Ace to pretty much go and get himself killed. So I think what they'll end up doing is Whitebeard and the rest of the Whitebeard pirates will actually go and also help the Straw Hat crew. Another change is that Boa Hancock now no longer has a reason to go to Marineford, because if you remember, the only reason why she went there in the first place is because Luffy asked her to and she fell in love with him. In this timeline, she has no idea who Luffy is and she doesn't care. She is now arrested for refusing to aid the world government, similar to how Jinbei was in the original timeline. And speaking of Jinbei is now no longer arrested, because the only reason why he was arrested in the original timeline is because he refused to fight Whitebeard. However, to him, right now, Luffy is just another pirate who got himself captured. So he has absolutely no qualms in going up against the Revolutionary Army because he has no connection to them. Another change is that the Impel Down jailbreak now no longer happens, which means Buggy remains in jail, Mr. 3 remains in jail, Crocodile remains in jail, Mr. 1, Ivankov, all of the Revolutionary armies that were part of Ivankov's crew, like none of them end up getting out. But of course, Blackbeard still goes along with his plan of going to Impel Down to recruit the strongest people from level 6 he can. So now that the day has come for the Straw Hat's public execution, the Revolutionary Army of course shows up to help out, and not only that, to kind of the surprise of the world government, the Whitebeard pirates show up as well. Now this completely shocks the world government and the Revolutionary Army, because no one was expecting Whitebeard to show up, because remember, at this point in the story, not many people knew that Ace and Luffy were brothers. Now I also feel like all of Whitebeard's allies, or at least most of Whitebeard's allies that showed up to help Ace during the Marineford arc, would actually show up now as well, because they feel so indebted to both Whitebeard and Ace that they would want to help out Ace's little brother if they can. So now with Whitebeard and all of his allies showing up, I feel like Jinbei would actually switch sides, because he is more loyal to Whitebeard than he is to the world government. So now Jinbei has once again betrayed the world government, gotten rid of his warlord status, and has now joined the side of the Whitebeard pirates and the Revolutionary Army to help save Luffy. And another interesting element to add into this is that when Sabo sees Luffy being pretty much chained up and about to be executed, and he also sees Ace when he arrives, I feel that this would now trigger Sabo's memories, and he now remembers everything about his past. And in the midst of all the fighting, I feel that there's one more thing that might end up happening, and it is actually something very similar to what happened in the original timeline, and that is Shanks and the red-haired pirates showing up during this war. Shanks has a very strong connection to Luffy, and Usopp is Yasopp's son, so I feel like they would also be compelled to show up. And so now with the red-haired pirates showing up, Mihawk does the same thing that he did in the original timeline, where he's like, nope, I did not agree to fight red hair. See you guys, you can handle this on your own. So now with all these just powerful groups of people coming to the Straw Hat Pirates' defense, there's just no way that any of them end up getting executed here, and the Marines just end up getting completely annihilated by the combination of the Revolutionary Army, the Whitebeard pirates, and the red-haired pirates. And so a couple of other plot points that end up getting affected by this is the fact that Ace and Whitebeard don't end up dying at the end of the war. Blackbeard does not end up invading Marineford, because the only reason why he did that in the first place was to attain Whitebeard's Devil Fruit. And last would be that Dragon would just declare war on the world government right then and there. And so pretty much just to tie some things up, Ace, Sabo, and Luffy end up having their reunion. They're all very happy and all very much alive. So then Ace and Sabo exchange Vivre cards. They also give a part of their Vivre cards to Luffy, so that all three of them can now know where each other are and go to them if they're ever in trouble again. The Straw Hats then get dropped back off at Water 7, where the Thousand Sunny is waiting for them. And then after they get back on the Thousand Sunny, the Straw Hats continue their journey wherever that is now. So pretty much, if Blackbeard didn't kill Thatch, the world of One Piece would be a complete and utter mess. I think that a lot of people would lose faith in the world government because of the fact that they couldn't beat these pirates and revolutionaries, and so now more people would turn to piracy, and some other kingdoms might actually go to the aid of the Revolutionary Army because they feel that it's safer than working with the Marines and world government now. So yeah, that was my what if video. I thought it was very interesting just going down the rabbit hole of just things that could really affect the course of history in this world. And yeah, I have a lot more of these types of videos planned out. And well, I mean, you guys have seen enough YouTube videos by now. You know what to do at this point when the video's over. So yeah.